Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the spring semester 2024. I'm so deeply thankful to be back with you all. I hope, against hope, that you got some rest and that you gave yourself a real break and that you regrouped and kind of brought your mind back in to come in and that you have your roller skates on for the spring semester. I always feel like in the spring semester especially, it feels a little bit like this in the fall, but I always feel like in the spring semester, I have roller skates on the ice bridge, going down the whole time with no brakes on it. So woosah, we're all gonna take a good and breathe a lot and drink lots of water, right? And get some sleep. So thank you all for being here, and welcome to those of you who are online and with us today. I'm so thankful that you are with us in worship, and also welcome to all of you who are new. This is your very first semester at MTSO. We're really thankful for you. I understand from the introductions on Friday that there are quite a few musicians and actors in this group. So I expect that we're going to have a fine time, some drama on campus because of you. So thank you. If you heard me on the closing worship of this fall semester, you will remember maybe that I preached from Isaiah 40, the first part of this chapter. Comfort ye, comfort my people. And then, of course, this continues into this year. The second part of this text, it is a poem. I think it's important for people to know sort of the genre. It is a poem, and so if you read it as if it is just, rules to live by, then I think you kind of miss the point of what the writer is doing, what the prophet is doing. It is a poem, and it is trying to capture God in language that makes sense. So here the language is about the God of all creation. And I thought, well, that makes sense at MTSO since we see ourselves as concerned about creation and concerned about earth and care. But it's a very interesting poem because it is trying to get them to think about God in a different way. Here are these people who are coming back from exile. Yes, this is not actually early on in the life of ancient Israel. And they have some concerns about whether the God that they have been told about, the God that they've been introduced to in worship, is in fact an active, loving, participatory God who cares about them. It's a real concern. And like many of us, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like many of us, they are looking for a productive answer about how the divine works. The prophet then pens these words and says, "What is you doing?" Okay, that's the Valerie Bridgeman version of that. And takes them back to the very foundation of the word. You may have heard that word several times. The very foundations of creation. When God speaks into nothing and something happens. When God speaks into chaos and creation is ordered. When God speaks and puts boundaries around chaos so that the waters do not overwhelm them and they have what they need. Creation, the created order, the animals, God who feeds, if you were listening to the text, the animals, God who responds to us. But the piece that I really like in this text, that it would be easy to miss if you weren't paying attention to the text, reminds me of two things. One is The Lion King, the animated version, where Simba is born. And Mufasa lifts him up and says, behold, the only thing greater than yourself. And so what he's saying to Simba is, look at the universe. See the thing that is bigger than you. It's an invitation to perspective. And so I'm inviting you, as you get into schoolwork, into thinking about these large, big, small concepts, into worrying about when things are due, into waiting till the last minute to get things done. Don't do it to yourself. To provide for yourself a perspective that is bigger than what's just in front of you. Someone bigger than you and I. Something more expansive than us that will help us get some perspective. Behold, the only thing greater than you. The other thing it reminds me of is I grew up in the Deep South in the show-enough country. And what that means is I did not grow up in light noise. There were no street lamps where I grew up, like literally. When it got dark on the farm that I grew up on, it was dark. Like, I mean, dark. Like you could barely see your hand in front of your face, dark. But you could see the stars. And we would climb up on my grandparents' roof and lay up on the roof and look at the stars. And imagine a story for the stars. This is actually what the text says. Look up and see the expanse. Who created that? Again, perspective. I am suggesting to you that as you get into this work, look up every now and then and get some perspective. Remember, you are not in this by yourself. Remember, there is bigger concerns than your concerns. Not to say that you should not care about your concerns. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying put them in perspective. This is what they are being invited to do because they have lost in their mind the notion that God cares about them. They have lost that as a notion. And frankly, let me just say, as someone who prays fairly regularly, God, do you care about us? Like, I know that's not how everybody prays, but I use that phrase a lot. Every now and then, it's like I can hear the Spirit say, look up, get you some perspective. There is more than what you are looking at. So I would invite you, look around, get to know one another. There is more than what you are dealing with. This is not an invitation to get into people's business. And it's not that. It is an invitation, though, to be in relationship so that you grow together. Here the text says that God provides seedlings for them so that everyone can be fed. Think about that. Every class, every conversation around dinner, every time you pass somebody in the hallway, every conversation online is an invitation to be fed. Now, you may have noticed that the title of the sermon, though, is Waiting on the Almighty. And so you might be saying to yourself, what does that got to do with what you're talking about? Here's it. And then in good Baptist form, because I'm not Baptist, I will say, I'm going to take my seat. They were concerned that God was taking too long. Have you ever been in the car and either you or somebody in the car said, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? They were in that place. Are we there yet, God? While the world is on fire and we are watching people die, literally falling in the streets, blood flowing all over the globe into the soil, all over the the globe, not just the wars we think about, but literally everywhere. I am like, are we where? God. This is wearying. This is tiring. I am tired, God. This is what they were saying. I am worn out. I am weary. I hear you that you created all of this, and I need some perspective. But God, are we there yet? All of us get weary. We do get weary. If you say you don't, I don't believe you. I will just call you a liar and smile while I'm doing it. We get weary, we get tired, we get frustrated, we get discouraged. But those who wait on God, those who trust the God who created a sustaining world, shall have their strength renewed. Not that you don't lose strength, but it can be renewed. Even the young people stumble and fall. So, the hope that somehow the young is going to save us, no, the one who saves us is God. But those who wait on God shall have their strength renewed. They will mount up on wings of eagles. I love that phrase because the picture, of course, is a mother eagle taking her eaglets on her back up above the turbulence and then letting them go so they can fly. This is not, oh, hold my hand through all of it. No. God will get you to the place where you, under the strength that God has renewed, can fly. He will mount you up on wings of eagles. You will run and not be weary. Y'all know I do have marathons. I don't believe that line. But I also know you can pace yourself and finish and walk and not faint. Here we are, waiting on the Almighty. Have a great semester.